What's up, guys? Welcome to a very, very special episode of Merricks Garage. Today, I'm giving you a sneak peek behind the scenes. A few weeks back, a customer of mine who owned the big red Blazer that you've seen in my shop, he flew out with his family to take a look at this build. And before we let him see it, we made him sit down in the chair and answer questions. We wanted to know why did he choose Merricks Garage? Why did he choose a square body? Describe the process to us. What had been his concerns? What was he excited about? And more importantly, what do square bodies mean to him as a person? What does he love about them, and why did he choose to spend all this money on an old truck? It's a cool video. It gives a lot of insight into other people's perspectives on these builds, and I've been really excited to bring this to you. I have a whole lot of videos in this series, so stay tuned to the end because I'll have links to all the subsequent videos. But in the meantime, I'm going to kick it over to Aaron so he can tell you about his experience.
Well, about 20 years and one cross-country flight, and we finally made it. My name is Aaron Moore. I am a Georgia resident coming to Santa Barbara to take a look at my K5 Blazer that has been with Merricks Garage since April of last year, and with any luck, I think we're getting ready to go see it and almost ready to take her home. I had a Jeep. I had an '89 Wrangler, and it's perfect for what it is, but if you want to try to put more than like you and a couple of things in it, there's not a lot of room. So when we got to talking about buying a Jeep or, four-wheelers and side-by-sides were becoming the craze, I just got to thinking, I was like, well, a K5, my first truck was a 77 square body. I was like, a K5 would be great. Basically a truck, take the top off, do a lot of the same things a Jeep does, but you got a lot more room to haul things. So started looking for a K5. Now the crazy part is that, as a lot of people know, K5s are, you find a diamond in the rough every now and then, or you find a rust bucket. So I did a lot of searching and looking and found this particular one in a city called Ackworth, Georgia. When we first got it, I drove it around town, and my wife drove it to work here and there. And I've got pictures even after we moved to Georgia of my son when he was little standing on the hood, and, just looking forward to what we were going to end up doing with it. I guess I never thought it was going to take quite this long to get here, but, he's graduating high school next month. It took 20 something years to get here because as I collected all those parts, in the midst of that, our careers, our jobs, it took us different places, and the Blazer got moved around a lot, and for a lot of that it was running, and then we made one of our last moves, or maybe I'll say third to last move, but at that point I really started putting the wrenches to it, and I took it completely apart. And so that's when it kind of got into its garage phase. And so that's kind of where it has sat. I would buy little parts and pieces and do different things along, but I reached a point where I wanted to do, after I'd done, the axle swaps and all that, I didn't have the tools necessarily to do gear changes, and I knew that was the next thing. And I also decided that I wanted to do an engine swap. And at that point, things have progressed a lot. Holly and the Terminator system has done a lot to make that a much simpler thing. But back then, it wasn't quite that simple, and I'm just not confident with electronics. So during all this time, I've been watching Merricks Garage on YouTube, and that's kind of how I first found James and found out about him. And I had been watching him, and I told my wife if I ever had a chance to have the disposable income to get someone to help me finish this the way that I wanted it, I'd like to see if he'd help me build it. And so I think James had just put out a video that said, hey, we're moving some builds out of the shop. If you've got a build and you're interested in Merricks Garage helping you build, give us a call. So that's when I first reached out to James, and about a year later, here we are. I think ultimately, like I said, I wanted to make something that, first of all, something that I would enjoy, and my wife would enjoy, and my son would enjoy, but something that was completely reliable, but also would kind of be a do-all kind of vehicle. Like I said, it's built to climb rocks in Moab if I ever get the chance to do that, but it's it's well overbuilt to do some of the things that I'll do around Georgia, or simply driving down the beach in Florida. I'm from there, grew up riding up and down the sandy beaches of Crescent Beach, and just wanted something that we could do that in and have fun with. But my wife will tell you I over-engineer and overbuild things a lot, and this is no different. It's probably going to be well overbuilt for anything I'll ever actually do with it, but if I want to, I can, and I don't feel like I have to worry a whole lot about it. I will say that it's been a positive interaction just throughout the build to be able to, I sent it out here because out of all the things I had, researched and found, like this is kind of what he does, and he's got one, he's got a Suburban, a K5, he works on these regularly. So I felt like if nothing else, he knew his way around these to the point where he wasn't going to be learning on them while he was also building them, which obviously was important. But I feel like the way that he's built his was much in the same vein of how I built mine. Now his suspension's, a lot nicer as far as coilovers and 4 links and all that, but I wanted to keep mine simple. But as far as just the general build style and the parts that we're using, all that, they're very similar to what all I had collected and kind of what I had in mind. So it's been great working with James, because he sent me pictures, and he's always, he keeps communication open. What do you think about this? What do you want to do with this? Or here's what we've run into. We need to do X, Y, and Z. So I kind of know what to expect. But more than anything, it's been something that, my wife and my son and I have talked about for several years, with all the moves and stumbling around it in the garage or whatever, like looking forward to one day that we'll all be able to ride around in it. I just, more than anything, I'm glad that they're here, and we're doing it together. That I think it's going to be fun just to see their reaction. I'm sure mine's going to be pretty happy too, but just for all of us to be here together and kind of bring a close to the chapter of, a 20-year span of a vehicle being disassembled in our garage that we can't use. I'm already smiling because I'm excited. I know my wife, she tries to play like she's not as excited, but she'll get her turn behind the wheel probably as much as I will, and I guarantee you my son, he'll be smiling. When it fires up, I think that's when he'll probably take the cake on the grins. So
10 years of producing videos and building these trucks has taught me what works and doesn't. I'm now bringing that to you guys. If you would like a custom truck by Merricks Garage, reach out to us. Go to my website, fill out a form, give us some details about what you're looking for, and someone will reach out to you to discuss your build with you.
From my first square body to this one, they are not as tight on the road as some of the new vehicles are. So just getting to know it a little bit, I'm going to take it easy around town and do a couple of milk runs with it, and just get used to, something on 40s with no sway bar and leaf springs, and just get to know it a little bit. And she certainly got a lot more power than she used to have. So driving the forest roads and doing some overnight camps. There's some pretty places along there with lakes and different things that we'll probably do some camping to start with, and then we'll branch out. I don't know. There's the Georgia Traverse Trail. There's the I think the Florida Traverse Trail, and there's another one, the Trans-America Trail. So there's a lot of stuff around us that we can get into with it. And like I said, it'll be super overbuilt for that, but I also know that we'll be able to go out there and do it. And if we run into a big washout or something like that, I don't have to worry about breaking anything, hopefully. And that's really what I wanted out of all of it. I threw a lot of pretty heavy duty parts at it, but more than anything, I just wanted something that no matter where we went, no matter how we used it, as long as we didn't do anything crazy, it should survive it and come back home, and we can just have a good time instead of a catastrophe. So if I was talking to someone who was looking to do a restoration like this, what would I tell them? I would tell them, set your expectations. First of all, money's going to dictate everything that you have to do. If you have a vehicle that's already in great shape, cool, you're at a much better starting place than if you have something that's mechanically unsound or needs a lot in the way of body work and things like that. And know for sure what you want to do with it, which direction you want to go. There's anything out there from mild to wild, and depending on what you're doing with it, you don't have to do the crazy, super 1 tons and 40s and all that sort of stuff. I just did that because that's what I wanted. But if you want to do something, you know, it's not within your budget to do it, that's fine. You know, don't do what I did. That's the first thing I'll tell you. Don't do what I did. Don't buy something and take it apart. Work on it piece by piece and just do what you can when you can and enjoy it the whole time, because I missed out on a lot of fun with that thing by doing what I did. But, you know, you live and learn. But if you know where you're going with it and you know what you want to do with it, you can kind of figure out, you know, what makes sense and how to get there. And probably more important than all of that is I have a good wife that supported me and let me do this. And I think she's been interested in it too, you know, but she's always supported what I wanted to do with it. And I think, you know, that's that's the most important part, because I mean, it is an investment and you need to know that going into it. It'll snowball on you in some places, but at the end of the day, like I said, if you know where you want to go and kind of know how you need to get there, you can break that up in pieces, and you don't have to do it all at once. But thankfully, if you do like I did, there's folks like James that can take what you've put together or start from scratch, whatever. And in my case, he took a soup sandwich and tried to make it a little more gourmet than what I had put together so far. So that's my best piece of advice. Know where you want to go and know kind of the steps to get there, and hopefully have some good folks in your corner to support you getting there.
I knew that was going to be a good video. It's cool from my perspective to hear Aaron talk about the build in his own words, talk about the truck, talk about what he loves. The next video, he's actually going to see it. That is going to be awesome. Make sure to click the video up here. It's going to take you to the next one where he sees this thing for the first time and drives it himself.